Greetings and salutations. It's your man CD, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. And I'm out here in the Southern California sunshine, making my way through this quarantine like everyone else. Hopefully you're all home, safe, and healthy. I want to do a quick shout out to Carl and Anthony, who are the leaders of the A to the K WrestleTalk podcast. You guys can watch that on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, etc., etc. And I just want to say I appreciate their support. The guys at AEW, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for fans like you guys. And I'm sure Carl and Anthony feel the same way about all of you that listen to A to the K WrestleTalk. So keep listening to A to the K WrestleTalk. You guys stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you later.
That being said, do you want to give your take on AEW's Dynamite?
I will. So obviously, Double or Nothing has happened. So I won't kind of, I'm not going to gloss over this, but I'm not going to spend a significant amount of time.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, our secretary is going to cover a lot of the outcome of this anyway, so it's fair points.
Yeah. So obviously the show kicked off with another really strong hype package for Double or Nothing. Interestingly, focused most of the package on Lance Archer and Cody and the Stadium Stampede, as opposed to the Moxley match, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think am I right in saying from the card structure? I mean, it's not like we've already seen Double or Nothing, but from the card structure, they weren't even technically the main event, the title scene.
No, Stampede was the main event.
Which makes sense because of the length of it and the spectacle of it, that it'd have to be the last thing. But it says a lot for the title, doesn't it, that it's not the main event?
Yeah, interesting.
Sorry, anyway.
But no, so then the first kind of... so we had that package, and then after that, we get to see the Inner Circle arrive in style via limousines. Nice. Jericho basically says, if you think what they did to Vanguard was bad, then just wait till you see what they do to them tonight. I thought this was just really good. All of them got some decent one-liners in. All of them were coming across pretty funny. It was just. It's good to see this not just the Jericho show, do you know what I mean? And Jericho's fantastic, but I feel like everyone's starting to come into their own now, their own little kind of characters and things like that.
I know and again, without sort of being too much of a fanboy, but it's perfectly executed that he's been there as the big name to get them over and to support them, and now you can start to see the evolution of them. Like inevitably, or whenever they split up the Inner Circle, these guys are all going to stand on their own really well.
Yeah, and I think Jake Hager's got his silent man, but he can have a couple of one-liners or be a bit silly as well. Sammy Guevara is just continuing to be fantastic, getting better week by week and from a character and in-ring perspective. But then what really made me chuckle was there was a bit in here with Ortiz that just he kind of stole the show for me. He ends up taking the tie clip off the interview guy and is like, yeah, it's probably worth something. It's just nice. Stuff like that, you know what I mean, where it's just starting to really bring their characters to life a bit. So thought that was good.
Yeah, I totally agree.
We then see Ten, who comes out accompanied by Brody Lee.
Am I right in saying Ten's his name?
So I think...
Or is he just nameless and we're just seeing the 10 on his tits and going, that's probably his
name? So I don't know whether they call him anything but 10, but I think his name's Preston Vance. But I think it's stylized to be Press 10 Vance.
We'll stick with 10.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the perfect 10 on AEW. We might as well have the imperfect 10, dark 10.
Let's go with that, imperfect 10. I like it. But yeah, so he comes out and accompanied by Brody Lee, who's still got the title belt in hand. He asks 10 to take a knee. He doesn't do it right, so then he gets shouted at, and then says, it's hard to fathom people that he's no god, he's just a man who puts his pants on the same way as the rest of us, and he's managed to come into possession of a very special piece. He says basically he has to win to pay off the loyalty of these men in the Dark Order. But then Moxley comes out and makes relatively short work of 10. After the match, he does some skipping and dancing for some reason. Mox, again, his character's a bit weird. But then gets a chair, puts 10's arm in it and gives Brody a chance to give him the belt back and counts down to 10. And Brody being the piece of
10.
shit that he is. Yeah, gives 10 a count at 10. Basically, Brody being the piece of shit he is, says, he basically said, what was it he said? He said, I can't remember the words he used or whatever, but he's not bothered. He said, if he wanted the belt back, all he had to do with that was ask, but, everyone makes sacrifices, so he's leaving, basically. And then Mox then breaks 10's off.
So he's a solid 5 now.
He is a 5. So yeah, I thought it was a nice little segment. To be fair,
It's a good rivalry between the two of them. To be fair,
yeah, I've
as much
actually
as you
quite
just
enjoyed
irrationally hate Moxley, it's still a good rivalry, Carl.
it. See, we sometimes disagree, and I'm not going to go into that again. But yeah, next we get to see MJF, and he's coming out to take on Marco Stunt. And I don't know, I just thought this was fantastic. It was just an absolute heel clinic from MJF. It was just like
you forget how good he is, like because he is still fairly young in the business, and he is really fucking good. In all fairness.
Do you know what? Like his charisma and like his mic skills are amazing, but he can wrestle as well, man. He's really, really good in that ring. Yeah. But there was a bit in there that just had me in stitches. He's like, he basically he gets him and he grabs his arm, Marco Stunt's arm, and he's like, "Whose child is this?" I don't know why, but like literally, I just lost it for like a good 5 minutes. I had to pause it.
To be fair, but that again, it's like solid heel work, isn't it? That's brilliant.
Yeah,
it felt off the cuff. I don't know if it was off the cuff or whether they planned on doing that, but it feels like the type of thing he thought up and thought that'll work.
Yeah. But then yeah, he ends up winning the match. After the match, you know, he can't be satisfied with just a win, so he basically hits him with the AEW fucking diamond ring, whatever the thing is. And then obviously Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus come down to try and make the save. But I don't know, like why weren't they there in the first place? You know, Wardlow was at ringside.
I know, well, they looked at Marco and went, "He'll be fine."
Exactly. So
let's go get a coffee. He'll be fine.
I still feel like there's a couple of bits like that which seem a bit silly from AEW. It's like, well, why wouldn't
he's coming out with a mountain of a man? Even if you're not worried about MJF, you should be worried about the pair of them. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense, does it?
And it's like, you know, I
we're fair. We critique when we see it, guys.
Exactly. Like I could kind of give them a pass, like early COVID days when they didn't want that many people out there and stuff. But I can't see it being because of that. So I don't know.
Yeah, as we know, America doesn't give a shit about the COVID-19 now.
But yeah,
let's open everything back up.
Pretty much.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I thought that was really good, and it got me hyped for the match of Double or Nothing. Next, we get Jake Roberts coming out for a one-on-one discussion with Arn Anderson. So I never actually realised that they've never fought each other in the ring after many, many years in the wrestling business. So that was quite.
It's one of them where you expect it to be a given, don't you? But
I thought it would have happened at some point somewhere, but yeah, so interesting. But yeah, Jake was really good on the mic here. He was basically saying, you know, some people have dreams, some people have nightmares, but you know, nightmares aren't real. Lance Archer is. And it's just like he does such a good job of taking some, like he's got a fucking silly nickname, hasn't he? The fucking, what is it? The Murder Hawk Monster Mohawk.
Yeah, they just
mountain bike rider.
Yeah, I think they just anything that sounded cool, they slapped it together and made the longest fucking nickname on the planet.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think Jake's a really good mouthpiece for him. I think
Old Sergeant Murder Death there, because that sounds cool.
But yeah, I don't know. So I thought it was good, but at the same time, it did feel a bit clumsy. Like it wasn't really well rehearsed, and I feel like there was times in there where they kind of just felt like two old men who were kind of rambling and they didn't really know what they were saying.
I don't want to be too unfair to them, but they legit are two old men who are rambling, so can't avoid a feeling like that all the time.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's like it's one of them. I don't want to shit on it or anything because I enjoyed it, especially as like an old school fan. But I felt like I don't know. There was just a lot of stumbling over like the main kind of topic of it. But you know,
yeah,
I think all in all, they did a fine kind of job of selling the TNT title match. But I don't know. I don't know whether it sold it enough for me. But
I'm it's not that I didn't want to see this, right? But I still have this little fear in the back of my mind of AEW jumping the shark, as it were, and we see too much of these retro talents to push nostalgia. Like the show tweaked my nostalgia anyway. AEW felt like wrestling of old, just the way it was put together felt like that. So I didn't need all these old stars. And don't get me wrong, it was great to see Jake back, right? Arn sort of come back quietly. It was like just coaching Cody or whatever. But you know, when you're just like, and we're hearing suggestions now, as I mentioned last week, of Sting joining the fold, and it's like, please don't. Like, I really worry about this because this could be a mistake. I think they're skirting the line now, but it could be a mistake bringing back too much old talent. And when I'm watching stuff like this, as much as I'm not anything against it per se, and like you say, they did a good job. It just, I sit there thinking, I hope they don't have too many segments with these like really sort of old stars that they managed to get older. Do you know what I mean? It's a little fear I've always got with AEW because I don't want them to do it. They're a good show and they will be great. They just need to not concern themselves too much with that. They've seen the problem with WWE relying on all the talents that don't do it themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a fine line, isn't it? Because it's fine to use these kind of these old school guys and stuff like that. Like they've had DDP make an appearance, they've had Bret Hart make an appearance, they've had a couple of little things like that. And yeah, I think for regular kind of talents that they've got, like Jake, if he was just a manager that was the mouthpiece, that would be fine. And like if Arn Anderson was just there to accompany Cody and have his little game plan and stuff like that, that'd be fine. But when you have a whole segment of them like talking for the two stars that are meant to be having the match, it just felt, I don't know, wasn't necessary, I think. But
yeah,
it was okay though. I mean, I'm definitely not shitting on it because I did enjoy it, but yeah, a little bit clumsy and probably they could have found a better way to sell the match, I think. But yeah, then I got a promo for Pac. Fucking, I completely. I mean, I didn't forget Pac existed.
How's that guy doing?
Like, yeah, I don't know. I fucking love Pac. I think he's fantastic. I do proper miss him. He was just getting this death triangle thing like over when all this kind of stuff happened as well. So it's a bit of a shame, but it's nice to see that he's getting some kind of little vignette things in there as well. And it was an interesting take, really, kind of like creepy shit with like different versions of himself and stuff like that. But he goes on to say Orange Cassidy's a mark man. I feel bad on Orange Cassidy. Everyone seems to just fucking hate him, don't they? In the wrestling business.
I one of the main things I loved was Cassidy versus Pac. So I'm glad they're not done with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited once this all kind of blows over to see Pac back again.
Got to see Pac back.
Pac is back. That's a t-shirt right there. But yeah, then we get Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix. Match itself was fine. Again, not too much to say about it. It was a match. It happened. It was good.
Yeah.
Kip Sabian comes down towards the end and then climbs on a ladder to sit on it and watch on. So that basically distracts Orange Cassidy and basically leads to Phoenix picking up the win. But then SCU come down and knock Sabian off the ladder. Jimmy Havoc gets involved. Best Friends get involved. I don't know. I felt like a bit of a clusterfuck, this, to be fair. I get it was trying to hype the ladder match to some degree, but
and again, it's only fair to critique when we say it, but this is up there with like everyone scrambling on SmackDown to get the ladder to get the briefcase when it's irrelevant because it's not the Money in the Bank match. It's exactly. Like, why are we doing it? Other than to point out this match is going to happen. Look, hey. I always find these things needless. Like, have the match with some participants from it. Maybe even have the suggestion of the ladder. I don't mind. But when it turns into this sort of scramble and you coined the term clusterfuck there, I think that's probably the right term. It's like it was just a bit messy towards the end, really.
Yeah, so I don't know. It probably half of that didn't even need to happen at all. But I get they were trying to hype it, but didn't really work. We then got a fatal 4-way with the women's division. So we got Nyla Rose. Oh no, we didn't. That's a lie. We got a women's tag match. We got Nyla Rose and Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. The match itself was okay. I feel like the women's roster is getting kind of better and better.
Oh yeah.
As they go, but it's quite an unfortunate one. This there was like a corner spot where they basically Statlander and Shida had picked up Nyla Rose and kind of tried to toss her into Britt Baker in the corner, but she ended up landing on her knee, and it's a fucking nasty one. Like, she's torn like her ACL, she's torn some tendons, she's torn like a lot of stuff. She's going to be out for a while. So that's
shit. That yeah.
You
have to name her Nyla Jax. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell, I know, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel proper bad for her because I know I've been kind of saying it's a little bit hit and miss with Britt, but when it's like a hit, it is a hit with her.
Yeah, and this is only going to set her back, sadly, because you're going to have to establish yourself again. The momentum she had will have sort of gone. We're not going to forget who she is, but the momentum she was running on will be gone when it's so. There's quite like to see her. Put it now.
I'd quite like to see her be like still on the show in some capacity, whether she's like some sort of like got a segment on it, whether she's like on commentary sometimes, something like that. I feel like
a good way to keep her skills sharp on the mic, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I feel like her character work is what's kind of she's better from a character standpoint than she is in the ring. So I think she can continue to hone and improve her character stuff to the point where that will continue to grow and grow. And then once she gets back, it's just trying to focus more on the in-ring stuff then. But yeah, just a proper shame for her. Hopefully it is a speedy one and not like too long out. Yeah, then we get a Mox interview and talks about how everything leads to violence and he's going to break Brody Lee's arm. It's only going to get worse from here. You know, he's going to lose the match and whatever power he thinks he has, and he's just going to be left with a bunch of dudes in gimp suits, which I actually got a bit of a chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
So, fair play, Mox. Don't like
Fair
you, but
play.
you made me laugh.
That was good. Yeah.
Then, fucking hell, how many gimmicks does this guy want? So Shawn Spears is now a news anchor.
Okay.
So he was Perfect 10, then he was the chairman, and now he's fucking Shawn Spears News, or whatever he is, SSN.
I mean, according to the card for Double or Nothing, he still goes by the chairman.
Oh, really?
I believe Dustin Rhodes is like the natural or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
They had their little nicknames above the names on the card.
Okay.
But yeah, he's still the chairman. Chairman.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, he's the news anchor chairman now. But yeah, he basically reveals that Dustin Rhodes is apparently retired quietly. So he wants to congratulate Cody for making that happen. But then I thought this was quite a bit of a brutal shot, to be fair. But he says, you know, it's a tough pill to swallow for Dustin, but you know, 12 years or so ago, that wasn't such an issue, was it? Obviously, going back to Dustin's substance abuse issues from many years ago.
Savage.
Yeah. So, you know, Shawn Spears doesn't have a Double or Nothing match, so goes on to challenge Dustin to a match. And then the main event of the evening was
the one thing I just want to moan about the Shawn Spears thing, though. How do you feel about the match itself? Because I'm looking at it, like, from a story point of view, why would you book yourself against a retired wrestler? Like, you're putting them down in that same sense, but it's like, well, you've nothing to gain from this match. You either lose and look a tit, or you win and you beat up an old man. I don't get why you'd want to book it from a story point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, didn't make any sense at all. Yeah.
Right, I'll let you get on to the main event now. Just sort of bugged me, so I want to.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. I think it was the week after he got eliminated from the TNT tournament. You know, Shawn Spears had like a little 30-second vignette or whatever, basically saying that it was Cody. Cody's a bad person for not throwing in the towel or something like that. And I thought that was random. And then now, obviously, he's now challenging Dustin Rhodes. So I'm guessing, yeah, I don't know. You've probably just done a bad job of making a story out of it, to be fair. But yeah, didn't make any sense.
Fair
but
enough.
The main event, the Spanish God, our friend Sammy Guevara, taking on Sammy G, taking on Matt Hardy, and this was so good. You know, these guys have got really good chemistry. He's like, Sammy can sell, man. Like, you talk about Dolph Ziggler.
I wonder sometimes if Sammy's neck is made of fucking rubber. It's scary looking sometimes. Yeah,
like I just hope one of these he doesn't fucking do something one of these days. You know what I mean? Because it's so convincing, it's so brutal looking, like it's dangerous almost.
I've got to sincerely hope he wouldn't do something if it had the potential to hurt him. So he must know what he's doing, but it doesn't half look brutal.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, I thought these guys had really good chemistry. About you know, partway through the match, Matt Hardy took off Sammy Guevara's boot and decided to bite his toe or whatever. And I'm just thinking, this is the second time this has happened now, because it happened fucking with Darby, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, what is the obsession with the Spanish God's feet? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel interesting area to target.
I feel like, you know, if Jericho or Sammy or whoever's listening to this, you know, that needs to be some sort of t-shirt, something to do with, you know, the Spanish God's feet. Make it happen.
The Achilles heel, if you will.
Oh, fucking hell. Tell you what, man. You've got some talent, to tell you. But yeah, I would buy that. But yeah, so again, like, it didn't half sell the twist of fate, Jesus Christ. But Hardy picked up the win. Then after the match, we get to see, well, Hardy brought a chair into the ring, but he didn't get a chance to use it because Jericho came on the screen. And they basically got Omega. They were starting to smack shit out of him. Then the Young Bucks came out of nowhere to make the save, and then we got to see Hangman.
Also, Hangman's back
as well. So he just did the longest fucking run towards a fucking lariat you've ever seen in your life. But yeah, just thought it was a nice little way to end it, and got us looking forward to the Stampede.
Yeah, good to see Paige back as well, man. To be fair,
yeah,
miss that guy.
So for me, this was definitely, to be honest, I could have got higher than this, but I'm gonna give it a 3, just because I feel like it's as good as some of the stuff where, like, the MJF thing was fantastic, the main event was fantastic, but I don't know, some of the stuff felt a bit clumsy. Some of the stuff, you know, there was a couple of things where I could just pick out this week that just kind of made me kind of drop the rating a bit, but definitely still a very strong 3.
No, fair enough. I think for me, I'm going to give it a 3.5 on the basis that I thought NXT deserved a 3, and this to me, it pipped NXT. I couldn't say that this was on par with or worse than. It was better than. So I'm gonna have to give it 3.5 because I don't think it deserves a 4, but it was definitely deserves something to acknowledge that it was better, even ever so slightly, than NXT. So 3.5 for me on that basis.
Sweet.